Have you ever noticed what happens when you pull back from a woman? When you stop chasing, stop texting first, or simply stop talking to her? Most men are so afraid of losing a woman that they keep pushing, calling, and over-explaining themselves. But here's the truth. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is silence. When you stop talking to a woman, it creates a shift in her mind and emotions. Suddenly, the certainty she once had about your availability is gone. That absence forces her to think about you more than she expected. You see, modern dating has conditioned many men to believe they must constantly prove their worth to a woman. But the opposite often works better. When you pull back, she begins to feel the space you leave behind. And women notice that space. They notice when the guy who used to reach out every day suddenly doesn't. They notice when your attention isn't guaranteed. And in most cases, they don't just brush it off, they respond. Now let's be real. This isn't about playing childish games. It's about understanding how attraction and psychology work between men and women. Women are emotional by nature, and when you stop talking to them, you spark curiosity, even anxiety. She starts asking herself, why isn't he calling? Did he lose interest? Was I not enough? Or is he talking to someone else? The point is, silence speaks louder than words. And if you know how to handle it, you'll see that women react in very predictable ways when you stop talking to them. In this video, we're going to break it down step by step. By the end, you'll know exactly what signs to look for, how she's likely to respond, and what it really means for you.
1. She starts wondering about you when you stop talking to a woman. The very first thing that happens is this. She begins to wonder about you. And let's be clear, this is powerful. Curiosity is one of the strongest emotions a person can feel. When she's used to hearing from you, even if it's just a good morning text or a casual check-in, and that suddenly stops, her mind goes into overdrive. At first, she might brush it off. Maybe she thinks you're busy, caught up with work, or just distracted. But as hours turn into days, the silence grows louder. She'll check her phone more than she wants to admit. Every notification, every vibration, she hopes it's you. That's because women are highly sensitive to changes in patterns. When you break the pattern of constant attention, it forces her to pay attention. Here's where most men get it wrong. They think if they stop talking, she'll instantly lose interest or move on. But the opposite is often true. A woman who once felt completely certain about where she stood with you suddenly feels uncertain. That uncertainty creates questions, and questions create obsession. She'll start replaying past conversations in her head, looking for clues. Did I say something wrong? Did he lose interest? Is he talking to another woman? The reality is, your silence is not just absence. It's presence in her mind. You're not physically there, but you're living rent-free in her thoughts. And this is where attraction starts to shift. She begins to realize how much space you actually took up in her life when you were talking to her. Now, don't mistake this for her falling in love right away. This stage is about curiosity, about pulling her attention back toward you without lifting a finger. She's not sure what's going on, and that not knowing is what drives her crazy. That's why women sometimes even test the waters by posting something online, hoping you'll see it, or by sending you a small random message like, "Hey, how are you?" It's not because she suddenly cares about your day, it's because she's wondering where you went. This stage sets the tone for everything else. If you stay consistent and don't break the silence too soon, her curiosity will only grow stronger. And the more she wonders about you, the more she invests emotionally without even realizing it. So understand this. The moment you stop talking, you create a vacuum. And human nature hates a vacuum. It needs to be filled. In her case, it's filled with thoughts of you. 2. She tests your silence. Once curiosity sets in, the next thing she'll do is test your silence. Women rarely sit back passively when they feel ignored or left in the dark. Instead, they throw little hooks to see if you'll bite. These tests may seem small on the surface, but they carry a deeper purpose. She wants to confirm whether she still has your attention or if she's truly losing her grip on you. At first, the tests can look innocent. She might send you a casual "hey" or a random meme. Sometimes it's even something as simple as reacting to one of your old social media posts. But make no mistake, these are not random. They're her way of saying, "Are you still paying attention to me?" If you respond instantly, she knows she still has you. She may feel validated, but at the same time, her curiosity dies. The test worked, and you proved predictable. But if you remain calm, measured, or even silent, that's when things get interesting. Now she has to wonder even more. The silence you're holding is making her test harder, and in her mind, you're becoming more of a challenge. As your silence continues, the tests escalate. Maybe she posts something provocative online, knowing you'll see it. Or she might drop a message like, "I guess you're too busy for me." These are designed to trigger a reaction, to pull you back into chasing mode. But the key here is not to fall for it. If you break the silence every time she throws a bait, you lose the power of it. It's important to understand what's really happening here. Women test because they want reassurance, but more importantly, they want to feel something. Silence creates tension, and tension creates emotion. If she's testing you, it means your silence is working. She's invested enough to try to break it. Here's where most men mess up. They think a test is an invitation to prove themselves. They rush in with long explanations or apologies, trying to smooth things over, but that ruins the effect. The stronger move is to hold your ground. Respond when it makes sense, but not out of desperation. The point isn't to ignore her forever, but to show that your world doesn't revolve around her attention. When she sees that her little hooks aren't pulling you back the way she expected, her respect for you grows, even if she doesn't admit it out loud. Women respect men who don't fold under pressure. Passing these tests proves that you're not easily swayed, and that makes you far more attractive in her eyes. So, when she tests your silence, recognize it for what it is, a sign that you're on her mind. Handle it with composure, and you'll shift the power dynamic completely. 3. She starts missing you. After the curiosity and the little tests, something deeper starts to happen. She begins to miss you. This is the stage where emotions take over logic. A woman who once felt confident about your presence in her life starts to feel the weight of your absence. And here's the truth. Missing someone is not about love alone. It's about habit, consistency, and the void that's left when all of that is gone. Think about it. If you were someone she spoke to often, laughed with, or shared parts of her day with, those moments become part of her routine. When you step back and stop talking, that routine is broken. Now, every time she picks up her phone or scrolls through her messages, she's reminded of the space you once filled. That's when the missing starts to hit. At first, she might fight it. She may try to distract herself with friends, social media, or even talking to other guys. But distractions only last so long. When she's alone, when it's quiet, that's when your absence feels the loudest. She replays moments with you in her head, the times you made her laugh, the way you made her feel. That emotional replay fuels the feeling of missing you even more. What makes this stage powerful is that missing you isn't something she can control. It sneaks up on her. She doesn't decide to miss you. It just happens. And when emotions override logic, she can't just brush it off. That's why some women will break down and reach out, even when they swore they wouldn't. You'll get a random message like, "I just thought of you," or "Remember when we did this?" That's not coincidence. That's her trying to close the gap that silence created. The important thing here is patience. Most men get impatient and ruin this stage by jumping back in too quickly. The key is to let her miss you fully. Don't rush to remind her of your presence. Let her emotions do the work for you. Because the longer she misses you, the stronger her feelings get. This stage also exposes how much she actually valued you. If she genuinely cared about the connection, she won't be able to ignore the void. And even if her pride tries to hold her back, Missing you will create cracks in that wall. Eventually, the emotions will win, and she'll start reaching out in ways that make it obvious. So, when you stop talking and she begins to miss you, understand that it's a turning point. Missing you is what makes her realize your importance. It's what makes her value the time and energy you once gave. And the longer you can hold your silence, the more powerful that realization becomes. 4. She looks for your attention indirectly. When the missing grows stronger and silence becomes too heavy for her to carry, she often looks for your attention in indirect ways. Instead of coming straight out to say, "I miss you," or "Why aren't you talking to me?" she'll find subtle ways to pull your eyes back on her. This is where her actions become louder than her words. One of the most common ways is through social media. She might post a picture looking her best, knowing you'll see it. Maybe it's a selfie. Maybe it's her out having fun with friends. Or maybe it's something provocative designed to spark your curiosity. These posts are not random. They're signals. She wants you to notice, and more importantly, she wants to see if you'll react. Another indirect move is when she suddenly becomes more visible in places she knows you'll be. If you share mutual spaces, whether online communities, a gym, or even mutual friends, she'll show up more often, just so you notice her presence. She's not chasing directly, but she's placing herself where your eyes can't ignore her. She may also use mutual connections to get your attention. Maybe she casually asks your friends about you, or maybe she lets something slip that you're supposed to accidentally hear. All of this is part of her strategy to remind you that she's still around and still wants to matter to you. This stage shows something very important. She's not comfortable being ignored. Women are deeply aware of attention, especially from men they value. When you take yours away, she feels it. And rather than begging for it directly, she'll try to draw it back without looking desperate. This is her way of protecting her pride while still chasing your presence. Here's where you need discipline. If you give in too quickly, liking every post, commenting, or rushing back into her space, you undo the effect of your silence. The smarter move is to stay calm, observe, and recognize the signals for what they are. Her indirect way of saying, "I miss you and I want your attention again." Sometimes she'll even post things that look like they're meant for another guy, but really, they're aimed at you. She wants to see if you'll react, if you'll get jealous, or if you'll break your silence. But the moment you stay composed, you prove something powerful. You're not controlled by her bait. The truth is, indirect attention-seeking is one of the clearest signs that she's affected by your silence. And when you notice it, you know you've shifted the balance. She's now working for your attention instead of the other way around. That's exactly where you want to be. 5. She shows mixed signals. When your silence lingers and she realizes you're not rushing back, a woman often begins to send mixed signals. One moment, she may act like she doesn't care at all, posting things that make her look busy, happy, and completely unbothered. The next moment, she's dropping hints, reaching out, or doing something that clearly shows she's affected. This back and forth isn't by accident. It's her way of managing the internal conflict she feels. On one side, her pride doesn't want to admit that your silence is getting to her. She doesn't want to look like she's chasing you or losing control. But on the other side, her emotions keep pulling her back toward you. That tug of war creates inconsistency. So, you might notice her sending you a message one day, then ignoring you the next. Or she may like your post online after a week of silence, only to disappear again afterward. These mixed signals can confuse a lot of men. They start asking themselves, does she want me or doesn't she? But the truth is, The inconsistency is the proof. It shows that she's thinking about you, but fighting against showing it too much. That inner battle makes her unpredictable. She might even throw in subtle jabs or sarcastic comments like, "Oh, you must be too busy for me now." These are not just words. They're emotional leaks. They reveal that she's feeling the silence but trying to mask it with pride or humor. Here's the mistake most men make. They overanalyze every signal and break the silence too soon. The key is to understand that her mixed behavior is part of the process. She's testing herself as much as she's testing you. If you stay grounded and don't react to every swing, you'll come out stronger. You have to realize that mixed signals are a sign of emotional investment. Indifference is clear. If she didn't care, there would be no signals at all. The very fact that she's hot and cold proves she's affected. It means she's stuck between wanting to reach out and trying not to give you the satisfaction of knowing she misses you. Your best move here is to remain steady. Don't let her inconsistency shake your frame. If she's warm, stay calm. If she's cold, don't chase. Show her that you're not riding the emotional roller coaster with her. The more you hold steady, the more she'll eventually lean toward the side of reaching out with real intention. So when you see mixed signals, don't get frustrated. Recognize them as progress. They're proof that your silence is working, and soon enough, those confusing actions will turn into something more direct. Because a woman can only play tug-of-war with her emotions for so long before she makes a move. 6. She tries to reconnect. At this stage, the silence has done its work. The curiosity, the missing, the indirect signals, and the mixed behavior all build up until she eventually tries to reconnect. And when she does, it usually comes in one of two ways. Either casually, like nothing ever happened, or directly, where she makes it clear she wants your attention back. The casual reconnection is the most common. She might text you out of the blue with something simple like, "Hey, what's up?" Or, "I just saw something that reminded me of you." Don't be fooled. This isn't small talk. It's her way of opening the door without making it obvious she's been missing you. It gives her an excuse to reach out while still protecting her pride. The direct reconnection is more vulnerable. She may admit that she hasn't heard from you in a while and ask why. Sometimes she might even confess she's been thinking about you, or that she misses talking to you. When a woman takes this step, it means your silence hit hard enough that she couldn't ignore it anymore. Here's where men often ruin things. When she tries to reconnect, many guys jump in with full energy, unloading paragraphs, or explaining why they went silent. That kills the power of the silence. Instead, the smarter move is to respond calmly, briefly, and with composure. Match her energy. Don't exceed it. If she's casual, you stay casual. If she's direct, you acknowledge it. But don't overexpose yourself. The point of silence is not just to make her reach out. It's to shift the dynamic. When she reconnects, it should be on new terms, where you're no longer the one chasing. By staying calm and controlled, you reinforce that shift. She'll sense the difference. You're not the guy who's desperate for her attention anymore. You're the guy she had to work to pull back in. Another important detail. Sometimes she'll test your response even when she reconnects. If you come across too eager, she may pull away again, just to see if you've really changed. That's why maintaining balance is key. Keep it light, keep it short, and let her invest more if she truly wants to rebuild the connection. Also, notice how she tries to reconnect. The effort she puts in tells you everything. A lazy hey versus a thoughtful message shows different levels of investment. If she's genuinely interested, she'll go beyond surface-level attempts. She might call you, suggest meeting up, or bring up personal memories. That's when you know she's serious. When she finally takes this step, it means your silence has flipped the script. She's no longer just the prize being chased. Now she's the one putting in effort, And that's exactly where you want to be. 7. She values you more. When your silence leads her to reconnect, something shifts inside her. She starts valuing you more. Why? Because people naturally value what isn't always available. When you were always there, always texting, always ready to give her attention, she may have taken it for granted. But the moment you pulled back, she felt the difference. That absence made her realize the weight of your presence. This stage is about appreciation. She starts to see you differently. Not as the guy who chases endlessly, but as a man who has options, self-control, and standards. Silence showed her you're not desperate, and that automatically raises your worth in her eyes. Suddenly, your attention feels rare, and rare things are valuable. Think about how people treat luxury items. It's not just about the object itself, it's about scarcity. When something is limited, people chase it harder and treat it better. The same psychology applies here. When you stop talking to her, your attention becomes limited, and she recognizes that she has to earn it. That's when she begins to handle you with more care. You'll notice the change in her behavior. She may become more consistent in reaching out, more thoughtful in what she says, and more eager to keep the conversation alive. She may even bring up memories of times you shared, just to remind you of the bond she feels. All of this is her way of showing that she doesn't want to lose the connection again. Another clear sign of this stage is effort. Women show value through action. She might suggest plans, make time for you, or even open up emotionally in ways she didn't before. Silence makes her realize she can't afford to be careless with you. If she was distant or nonchalant before, now she becomes more invested, because deep down she knows what it felt like when you weren't around. This is also when respect deepens. She respects the fact that you didn't fold under pressure, that you didn't chase when she pulled back. That strength stands out. Most men don't have the discipline to hold silence, but you did. That sets you apart in her mind as someone she can't easily control or manipulate. Here's the key, though. Once she starts valuing you more, you need to maintain that standard. Don't slip back into old habits of over-chasing or over-explaining. Continue showing balance. Give her attention, but don't smother her. Engage with her, but keep your independence. This balance keeps her respect strong and keeps her attraction alive. When a woman values you more after your silence, it means she's felt the shift and doesn't want to lose what she now sees clearly. That's the power of stepping back. It teaches her your worth in a way words never could. When you stop talking to a woman, it's not weakness, it's strength. Your silence triggers curiosity, tests her emotions, makes her miss you, and pushes her to chase your attention in ways she never did before. Eventually, she reconnects and values you more because she's experienced life without your presence. The key is patience and discipline. Don't break the silence too soon, and don't chase when she wavers. Let her feel the space, let her invest, and let her realize your worth. In the modern dating world, silence isn't just absence, it's power. Use it wisely, and it changes everything.